What's up, gamers? Glitch has finally released their newest pilot, Game Over. Game Over. And I'm gonna make a review on it because, I don't know, the bills are due or something. Gameoverse is a series created by certified YouTube gamer Robobot, which centers around a team whose job is to save various worlds from being destroyed by stopping their respective heroes from defeating their villains, which honestly is already a pretty neat concept on its own. It really feels like an episodic type action show, like something that would have aired in the 2000s. Apparently this is a concept Robobot has been trying to get off the ground for a while now until Glitch stepped in, and for something that's been in the oven for over 10 years, I'd say it turned out pretty well. Although I do have a couple problems with it, which I'll get to. First off, the animation is absolutely gorgeous. I still think Gaslight District is the best looking Glitch show overall, but Gameoverse is a very close second for me. The fight scenes especially are super well animated. They almost feel like something straight out of an anime. I also love the polygonal look of the character designs. It really gives off that like retro video game kind of vibe. And speaking of characters, my two favorites have to be Gobbles and Flappers. I love their stupid voices, and they both have pretty well executed emotional moments that made me care for them more than I would have otherwise. The robot guy voiced by Schlatt was pretty funny too, and one thing I noticed is how you can clearly tell he's just recording from his normal setup, which makes his audio way more janky than everyone else's, and I find that hysterical.
You can spit fireballs.
Yeah?
You didn't think that was important to tell me.
I don't see what the big deal is.
Oh my god!
The villains in this pilot were also pretty good too. The main villain is super intimidating, Catgirl is an absolute icon, and Misinformation and the Paper Guy were such a fun duo. And although I like them, I have to admit, it kind of just feels like they were just there. It's not really clear what their motivation for collecting all the destroyed worlds is, and I get they're probably building up to something, but it would have been nice to have at least a little bit of an idea on what they're scheming. Also, there was a shark guy voiced by Michael Cusack, and he died.
That was like a really fun slide. A slide adventure. That thing twisted my fucking ball!
Really, the only character I didn't care for was Kit herself. She's fine, I don't hate her or anything. She's just not very interesting to me outside of her emotionally scarring tragic backstory. That's another thing I think could have been improved upon. The pacing and writing in this pilot is pretty wonky. There are a lot of scenes that go by really quickly, such as Kit's aforementioned traumatic backstory, while other scenes go on for way longer than they needed to. Plus, I feel like they try to introduce a little too much in the span of so little time, but at the same time, we don't even really get a motivation for Kit and the gang other than her wanting to save people due to her survivor's guilt. And we see her get hired, I think, at the beginning to work for some company, but we don't ever get to learn about said company, leaving a pretty big hole in the character's motivations. I'll give this show the benefit of the doubt though, because I feel like that's something that'll get explored in a future episode, assuming this gets greenlit for a full series. And I think it's okay that this doesn't have the best pacing or writing. Just the fact that this was even made in the first place after all the trial and error its creator faced is honestly really impressive in its own right. It really feels like a love letter to retro video games without feeling like corporate nostalgia bait slop. You can really tell that a lot of love and care went into this world, and it was really cute and interesting to see all the different video game mechanics come into play. When they make references to old games like in the credits, it really feels like it comes from a place of love and passion for these old games. And might I add, the credits are super colorful and well animated. They're honestly a highlight of the pilot for me, and they're also right next to a merch ad. Yippee! And listen, I don't mind Glitch giving their shows merchandise, that's fine and all, but I am not spending $60 on a hoodie. Well, I kind of already did, but I'm not doing it a second time. So overall, I'd say I enjoyed Gameoverse, and I think it has a ton of potential despite the problems I had with it. Also, I feel like these problems could be improved the more the writers get used to this world. Also, just imagine all the different video game genres they could tackle if this gets a full series. If they make an EXE episode, I will die happy. Also, apparently some of this pilot's music was done by Grant Kirkhope, as in GoldenEye Donkey Kong 64 Grant Kirkhope, which means I get to play this.
And then there's Chunky. He's dead.
My life is like a video game, trying hard to beat the stage, all while I am still collecting coins. Trying hard to save the girl, obstacles, I'm jumping hurdles. I'm growing up to be a big boy.
I know this looks really, really bad, But I swear to you, you have to believe me that I had nothing to do with this. Please.